Today I'm going to talk about City Girl, an Italy Murnau film from the late 1920s that basically came and went in that time period because it was shot as a silent film and sound came in. And this disc has all the different stories of what happened with this film and how it was like basically it was filming when sound suddenly hit. So they had problems, they had issues. I'd recommend this disc because you do get a commentary that explains a lot about the background of the production. And it's number 8 in the Eureka collection, so I'm sure it's out of print, but I'm sure maybe you can find it somewhere. So City Girl was a Murnau film that was thought lost for a long time. Now, when Murnau came from Germany, in Germany Murnau was big. I mean, he did Last Laugh, Nosferatu, Faust, a lot of big films. And he was thought as one of the great directors of Germany. So they brought him over to America because America was getting fed up and being told how great the Germans were and how tacky they were. It's the usual thing, is everyone's saying, oh, this is better than that. And it's like both cultures have good directors and bad directors. But America was influenced by German Expressionism when you went into the 30s with the horror films. But even in the 20s with the Lon Chaney films, there was an influence. But Murnau was brought in the first film. He was given complete creative control and he made Sunrise, which was not tampered with. It's a perfect film. It's a beautiful film. I don't care what Saoirse Ronan says, because he's not the biggest fan. But you're wrong, right? But essentially after that, Murnau defeated another contract with Fox, who were producing it to make smaller films. First was The Four Devils, and then it went straight on to making this one, which was based on a play that was written by the father of Richard Lester, of all people. Now, it wasn't a very successful play, and but they liked the general idea of it. There was a woman who comes to the city, going to the country, and finding it very difficult because the country people had very kind of dark views on what the city people are like, and it's all about drama of this kind of tension between the different new family members working in this farm. So it was thought it was a good property with a good idea behind it. There was quite a few films with this similar idea in it in the 20s. It was just one of those kind of subgenres that happened in the 20s. There's probably an interest between city life and country life that's probably something in the zeitgeist at the time. So they made this film, and then halfway through the production, The Jazz Singer was released. Now, Fox and Warner's, who did The Jazz Singer, were both developing sound, but Warner's got ahead. And during this production as well, William Fox, who ran Fox at the time, or just called Fox at the time, he fell ill and he was thrown out of his own company. And he was the one who brought Murnau over, because Fox at that point had been making basically B movies to make their money, and they're bringing in Murnau to give them some class. And he was happy with Sunrise, even though he knew it probably wouldn't make that much money. But during the time, Murnau was actually learning the American system and trying to find a way to match his stylization with the new country so he could succeed. Because back in German film was collapsing, so he really couldn't go back there. And plus there were some fascist elements developing in Germany. So Murnau was actually, with these films, trying to learn how to develop within the American system. And then all hell broke loose. Fox lost the studio. The new people involved had no interest in Murnau. Nor the films he'd made. They pretty much were basically write-off. It was like, we're not making money off these. The Four Devils was released, I think, vaguely, but we've lost all prints of that. City Girl had some scenes reshot, to make it partially sound and partially silent, hoping to get something from it. Because that's what how the Fox did it at the time. They realised, okay, we do have sound equipment, so let's try and we can't reshoot the whole film, but let's reshoot certain scenes. And at that point, Murnau tried to help them with that and say, look, if you reshoot these scenes and bring the sound in later on in the film, it'll be more effective. And they, of course, completely ignored them and did it a different way, as studios are want to do. Don't listen to the guy who'd made the film in the first place and was trying to help you. So Murnau then just quit and left, but even after he left, he was still trying to protect his films. But he went off and did Taboo, and he died. But so this film was pretty much left in limbo. The only bit that survived for a while was the sound version, and then I don't even know what happened to it. So everyone thought it was lost until 1970, and then it was rediscovered and remastered and did all the things, and now the silent version is known. But because it was gone for so long, it was never in the great collection of Murnau films. And plus the fact film was, it was tampered with during production as well, so it was never fully together as a Murnau film compared to something like Sunrise, which had a lot of power on it, or his German films. So we've got this film that's now viewed of as damaged goods in the Murnau canon, which is a real shame because it's got lots of virtues. It was a big influence on Terrence Malick for Days of Heaven, which you can see just in the film because they both take place in the farmlands with lots of wheat, and you know, and both the films have to do with like a marriage that causes hell, and an ending where it seems that hell comes down to the farmland. So there is influences there, but it's also its own thing, and it's also very worthy. Now the big problem with the film really is the script does feel like it was being developed as it went. There is a sense of the story's there, but it could have done a bit more polishing before they started. Like maybe they started shooting before they were quite ready. And it's not that there's anything majorly wrong with it. It just feels like it could have been polished a bit more. It could have been like, it feels like it's about 10 minutes too long. And there's not anything like, you take that out, you take that out. It's just like general thing. It just feels like there's little bits of things that could have been excised in the scripting portions just to kind of give you an idea of, just for more clarity. And that's my biggest complaint about the film, is it feels a bit long and it feels a lot unfocused narratively at times, but it still gets from A to B to C really well. And Murnau visually still does gorgeous stuff throughout, and he does do something which is great. Is the idea is he's taking the film into normal lives, like the farmer. It starts off a farmer coming from the farmlands into the city, and he's there to sell the stock from the farm, which will give them the money to survive the next year, because the farm doesn't pay brilliantly. You're basically going to be there to survive, and that's it. And his father is very much a curmudgeon who is Scottish like me, so you think, wow, that's so anti-Scottish, try to suggest we're all awful people. Only 75% of us are awful. Come on. There's 25% out there somewhere that aren't awful. I mean, I'm in the awful camp, but there's some that aren't. Some are nice. So he's sent to sell the wheat. His father's not sure if he can trust him to do the job, but his father doesn't trust anybody. While he's there, he sells the wheat, but he also falls in love with this waitress who's nice to him, and she is finding city life to be horrible. She lives in this terrible little flat. She hates it. She hates her job. And the idea of going to farmland seems perfect for her. Just like, oh yeah, even if it's hard work, it's better than this. At least you'll get to see the sun. You get some fresh air. You're not getting trapped around these small containers, either your flat or your workplace, but both of which are just cramped. So she's like, falls in love, and loves the idea of leaving. And then when she goes back to the farm with him, she realizes he's under his dad's thumb and his dad hates her. His dad thinks she's there to get the farm when she's not. And this is the area I think the film is, when I say it needs to lose 10 minutes, I think this is where it needs to lose 10 minutes. There's certain things are not sharp enough here for the conflict between people. I think certain things are stated, but not stated quite as well as it could be. So you have the kind of romance side, and that's nice and charming, and then suddenly you switch over to the paranoid element in the second half of the film, where everyone's out to get each other, and the father's paranoid, but there's a woman taking the son. The rest of the family like her, and they're wondering why the father's so paranoid. There's these farm handsmen causing trouble, showing that not all of the farm life is idyllic either. So she has to kind of adjust to farm life, and her new husband has to step up to and tell off his father, which he does not want to do. And the father's just this curmudgeon who's can't take the idea of him being wrong about something. And he's willing to sacrifice his family to prove himself right. And all this is good stuff, and the atmosphere's terrific, and lots of things happening are really wonderful. But at this point in the film, the introduction to everybody, it does feel a little vague, and it does feel a little unmotivated. And that's just a general feeling of sometimes the film feels a bit unmotivated at times, and stays in certain things a little bit too long. In some ways it's to make sure you know the characters, but sometimes it's like, we get it. But it's especially in this section where the film kind of flews around a little bit, because it's giving you the information, but maybe it comes in a slightly more precise way. Now, the first half of the film, when they're in the city, was not part of the play. And so the play really started when she came back with him. And maybe try to combine the first half and the play was where maybe the stuff when they came in, maybe when you're doing dialogue and on a play, maybe it made more sense because the way it was paced, and try to squash it in between two parts that worked. Maybe that was caused the problem, I don't know, but there is a slight problem there. In the sense of, takes a while for the film to find its direction, and you have to wait till the farmhands arrive, then the film finds its direction again. But there's a kind of element there that just kind of doesn't quite work. But then the film gets great again. When all hell breaks loose, manipulations start between there's one farmhand who falls for the woman, for the wife, and tries to manipulate everybody and causes havoc. And again, finally when the storm comes and all hell breaks loose, it's terrifically done. It's Murnau being Murnau and finding fascinating visuals to suggest a lot without going over the top. He suggests a lot, but expressionistic in his own way, while also understanding the kind of naturalism of the environment. He can only go so far. He has to suggest things within the milieu of these people, and he's up for it. He's brilliant at it. The same way in the early parts, showing the city and what it is and why people are frustrated by it, it's done wonderfully as well. All the atmosphere and the actors are all great. Now, the film came out because the lead actor, they were going to dump the film, then the lead actor suddenly had a couple of hits. So it was like, oh, we've got this other film that he was in. So they just shot the sound bits and put it out and made money off it. But otherwise it was going to be dumped and never released. So the film now exists in a kind of halfway house of Murnau's career. It's known as a Murnau film, but it's known as a flawed Murnau film, and a film that's not quite the same level of famous as some of his German films or Sunrise or Taboo. It's kind of a forgotten film, and it's a real shame because it's a really good film. It's not perfect. It probably, again, it needed script work before they went to production, but the stuff that Murnau's in control of, the actors, the atmosphere, it's all done perfectly. It's just you wish they'd just finessed the script slightly. Now, this was Murnau's first film without his normal script writer, and maybe that was some of the problem. Maybe his normal script writer, they'd fallen out on Sunrise, I think, or Four Devils. And you can see the kind of, maybe that's why the script wasn't quite what it needed to be when they started shooting it. But it is what it is. It's still a wonderful film. It's still well worth seeing. You know, if you're a Murnau fan, this is a must. But if you're not, it's still worth seeing because it takes place at a time where there's not many films you can see about this time of the city versus country life in America in the 20s. It's not something you see much of, and there's a really good film on it here that you should watch. So it's also quite good to see America before the Depression hit, and what was the struggles even then, what were the stresses even then before all hell broke loose. So it gives you a sense of what the world was before it went really to hell in the next decade. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with another one. That's me for now. Bye.